Good morning, everybody. You are currently listening to a Tall Girls podcast hosted by a tall girl named India. I hope you're having an amazing day, week, month, year, life, whatever it may be. Before I get into this episode, I do want to say make sure you are following me on my socials at a Tall Girls podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest so that you can stay updated on all of the latest podcast episodes and catch a glimpse of my everyday life. Also, feel free to leave me a review and let me know how tall you are. Everything will be linked in the description, so it's super easy for you. Now, if you're looking at the title and you're slightly confused as to why I'm in Switzerland, for context, I am studying abroad in Italy for the month of June. Oh my gosh, June is coming to an end soon. But anyways, I take classes 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, and I try to do something or go to a different place every weekend. And this past weekend, I chose to go to Switzerland. A little strange, right? Well, not necessarily a little strange. It's just, I'm in Italy and I've been to France, so you think maybe like a Spain or I don't know, like the UK or something like that. However, fun fact, I actually happen to have a cousin who lives in Switzerland. And even before I came on this trip, my father was telling me that I should visit her. So while I was out here, I put two and two together. It's like, you know what? I don't know when the next time is I'm going to be this close to her. It has to happen. It has to happen right now, or it may never actually happen. So I told my father to give me her phone number, which he did, and I hit her up and I was like, yo, are you trying to meet up or whatever? She said that she and her husband would love to have me. Now, don't get me wrong. I was super excited to meet them for the first time, but once she said yeah, she's down, I automatically thought to myself, free housing. I just think that's the broke college student in me, because that flight round trip was a little over $200, and I would have to think, because I was going to stay 2 nights, Thursday night, Friday night, and then I would leave on Saturday. Yeah, and after paying for a hotel in France, even though I split it with somebody else, I just didn't feel like doing that again. Yeah, crazy of me. So it just felt good to know that I had free housing and free food. See, things add up. That's what I'm learning extremely quickly out here. Things add up between hotel, transportation, and food. I did not come here prepared with a budget because I didn't even know what I was going to do. I mean, I knew for a fact that I was going to do France, but I still haven't budgeted for it because things just don't always necessarily go as planned. Like, I didn't even know that I was going to go with somebody else. I just didn't know what to expect. So I'm just freeballing everything at this point, which is good and bad. Bad because it's stressful. Good because I'm learning on the go, but still, it's just nice to know that I didn't have to pay for housing and I didn't always have to pay for food or transportation. Yes. But anyways, immediately after I got off the call with her, I bought my ticket and I left Thursday right after class. My class ends at 11:30 a.m. and my flight was at 2:55. And I like to get to the airport early, or at least leave for the airport early, and you're about to find out why. But yeah, I did have to run out of my class. Once my class, and it's so funny because we went to the Gucci Garden Museum. Homegirl didn't even, I tried my best to get pictures at the bottom floor. I wasn't allowed to take pictures on the first floor, and I ended up taking pictures on the first floor illegally. I got yelled at 3 times for that because I kept forgetting that I couldn't take pictures on the first floor. But nonetheless, the Gucci Garden, it was very interesting, very elaborate, very it's just not my taste in museums, but it was only €5. I could say that I got to go. It was very interesting. Pics will end up on my social medias at some point. Anyways, I went off track. After the Gucci Garden Museum, whatever, we went back to the classroom and I immediately had to pack all my stuff and leave at 11:30 a.m. on the dot. I was waiting for the teacher to stop talking so I can run out. 11:30 came, I ran out, basically sprinted back to my room, packed all my stuff in 15 minutes, and made my way to the airport. So that indeed was a journey. I did like how I did when I went to France. I packed my book bag, made my way to the tram, and the tram took me to the airport. Usually, this trip takes about 20 minutes and only costs €1.50. Super simple, super straightforward. No, it was not like that day. I get to the station, right on time, and I see the tram pulling up. And as I'm walking toward it, I'm like, okay, perfect. I just need to get my tram ticket and board, and it will take me there. Super simple. So I go to the machine to get my ticket. I take out my card because it does contactless payment because, haha, technology, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, and I didn't have any coins. I used up a lot of my coins during the week. So I beep, bop, boop, everything. Try to pay. It's not working. I'm doing the tap thing 20 times. It's not taking it. And I try to hold back from doing insert unless I am like at a restaurant, or I try not to do insert unless there's actually a person that works there watching me insert it, because if it gets stuck, then they can help me. I didn't want my card getting stuck in this machine. So I was like, I don't know about that one. So it's not working. I'm like, hello, what's going on here? I look to my left and I see there's another girl who's having the exact same problem. Like, she's trying to use her card and it wasn't working. I'm like, okay, so today's just the day that the machines don't want to work with electronic payment, I guess. So I immediately think to myself, I need to get change because I only had big bills. I only had like 20s. So I ran across the street to something called Yamasi. I don't know. It's weird. It just, whenever I look at it, I immediately think of pharmacy, but then I look in the store and it's only bathing suits. Strange. But anyways, I ran across the street to that store and I isolated the cash register if I could have change. And she looks me up and down and was like, sorry, I don't have any smaller coins, but maybe try Target. And I immediately thought nothing of it. So I go outside and I'm like, okay, let me look for it. But once I got outside, I think I fully processed what she said. And I was like, y'all don't even have Target out here. What you mean? Go try Target. So I think she just sensed the Americana in me and just didn't want to help. Whatever. That's fine. I don't care. I look back across the street at the tram. I hear the beeping sounds, which indicate that the doors are going to close soon and the tram is going to leave. So I literally sprint back across the street, full on panicking, not thinking, and I get on the tram without a ticket. Yet another bad move. Why? Because if you get caught without a ticket and without a validated ticket, you can get fined up to $300 if you're caught. So I was scared, and it was dead smack in the middle of the day, and that's when they're more likely to come and check for tickets. Dead smack in the middle of the day. I was panicking full on. So I'm immediately trying to figure out what to do next, and I see the girl on the tram who was also struggling with the machine that I was at. Well, she was to the left of me, but you get the vibe. So I go up to her and I was like, hey, you speak English? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my goodness, thank gosh she speaks English, because I feel like the Italians here know how to speak really good English, but I feel like sometimes when they see Americans having an issue, they try to fake not being able to speak English well so that they don't have to like deal with you. I don't know, but she was from London, super nice girl, and she basically said that the machine just wasn't thriving, and she luckily had coins to use. She used the last of her coins because it didn't take her card either. So she just advised me to get off at the next stop, which was the main train station, and I would just get a ticket there. So shout out to you, girly. You saved my life. Anyway, so I get off at the next stop, said bye to her. I see a ticket machine immediately when I get off. Go up to it, says it's out of service. Awesome, great. And I start panicking again. So I just run into the train station, desperate for a literal $2 tram ticket. This is all for a $2 tram ticket. Oh my gosh. And I see a sign with a big T, which means that it's like a tabaki or something like that. I just remember seeing online that if you see a big T, that means it's tabaki and it sells bus and tram tickets. So I go online for the tabaki and then I see a sign that says no bus or tram tickets sold here. And immediately I'm thinking to myself, first of all, what's your purpose then? If you don't sell any bus or tram tickets, even though it was selling food and drinks and stuff, like, the main reason why people go to tabakis, especially tourists, is for tickets. So I don't understand. But at this point, I'm just running out of options. I'm freaking out. I stay online. I go up to the man. He had a big attitude on him, but whatever. I asked him where I can get tram tickets since he doesn't sell it. And he says on the other side of the train station. So I sprint all the way to the other side of the train station. And I see the machine for that. Try to buy a ticket, use my card again. Another big mistake. I was like, screw it, I might just need to insert it because it didn't do the tap. I inserted the card and it was stuck in the machine for 7 minutes. Literally 7 minutes. I remember checking the time because I was almost an hour behind schedule and my card was stuck in the machine. I kept trying to pull my card out and she wasn't coming out. It was stuck. It was locked in there. I did not know what the machine was doing. I almost cried because I just wasn't having it anymore and I did not want my card to just be left in a foreign country in a tram ticket machine. Oh goodness. But finally, after a while, the machine gave me my card back, thank goodness. And I said to myself that I'm not even going to try again at this machine or any of the machines that are around this machine. So I asked the help guy, and I'm like, bro, I really need me a tram ticket. None of these machines are working. Please help me. So he tells me to exit the train station on the side that I'm at and make a right, and a machine will be there and I should try it. So I get a feeling that that is probably my last hope. I was saying to myself in the back of my head, I hope that this works, because if it doesn't work, I will not be going to the airport and I will not be going to Switzerland. I was on the verge of just getting ready to turn back around and go back to my room. I was just going to take it as a sign that I should not be going to Switzerland. So I just go and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try it. I exit the train station, make the right, and thank goodness the machine did work. It finally gave me a tram ticket. So I bought it, go back inside into the train station. I see the tram from afar at the stop, and I start galloping to try to catch it, and I missed her. So I had to stand in the sweltering 100 degrees. That was the only day of the week that it was 100 degrees. Perfect. I stand in the sweltering heat for 20 minutes for the next one. I can't be too mad though, because at least I'm tanning. I am about 20 shades darker than I was back home, which is great. And I'm trying to get as much sun as possible because it's super cloudy and 60 degrees back home in New York. And I don't want to go back to that, but I have to. But the weather is just not hitting. So I'm just trying to enjoy the sweltering heat while I still can. But anyways, made it to the airport, made it to my flight on time. I got to the gate with about 10 minutes to spare. I just felt good about it. I was just like, thank goodness I made it in time. What a journey. Did not need to be like that, but whatever, life does that to you sometimes. Didn't sit next to a man spreader on the plane this time, which was perfect. I was actually comfortable for the flight, even though it was only an hour. So I just knocked out for the entirety of the flight. And then we landed in Zurich after an hour. So my cousin lives in, I'm sorry if I butcher the pronunciation, but I think it's Aarau. I don't know. I keep calling it Aarau. It's just Aarau. So I was just like, Aarau, but it's Aarau. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. And she said that she would pick me up from the train station in Aarau. And I was like, great. So now I have to figure out the Zurich airport. I didn't think anything of it because the airport in Florence is not that complicated. So I just thought, it's probably not going to be that complicated in Zurich. Oh my gosh. I was wrong. I had to figure out how to take the train from Zurich to Aarau. And she said, yeah, like the train station is just underneath the airport. You just go down some stairs and that's it. You just ask for help. So I'm immediately thinking, okay, like it's not going to be that bad. It's not going to be that. Oh my goodness, I was wrong. Finding the train station was absolutely horrendous. The airport in Zurich is literally amazing. It has a grocery store, a Gucci store, an H&M, a gym, a play area for children. You name it, that airport has it. Yes. Tell me why I had to ask 7 different people and go through 3 different buildings just to find this train station. And it wasn't even one set of stairs that I had to go. I had to go down like 5 different sets of stairs. It was, no. It took me about an hour and a half before I could even find the train station. And then on top of that, everything was in German. Yeah, I was in the German part of Switzerland. So that was, oh my gosh. It's so hard to try to decipher things in German. I feel like with the Romance languages like Italian, Spanish, French, and English, of course, it's a little bit easier to just make things out because they have their similarities. German, no. It's like that language is completely off to the left. So trying to figure out what anything means, you're going to have to use Google Translate. You cannot figure it out yourself unless you literally know German or you've taken a German class. That's it. Anyways, I took the train from Aarau, met my cousin who was illegally parked in front of a pharmacy. Love that. But by that time, it was pretty much late. My flight, well, first of all, the flight was delayed. We didn't take off till like 3:20, even though we were supposed to take off at 2:55. So I didn't land till around like 4:30. And I remember sitting in the car and it was like past 7:30. It was pretty late at that point. So, and then things in Europe, not even just in Italy, even in Switzerland, restaurants and stuff close earlier. Close around 8ish. So at that point we only had 2 options as to where to eat. So we just went out to eat at one of the 2 options that we had, and then we just called it a night and went to sleep. Best believe I slept well that night. Why was that entire day stressful? Anyways, woke up bright and early the next day at 8 a.m. and prepped for the full day ahead of me. It was a Friday, so my cousin and her husband had work, so I was literally just left to my own devices. I was left by myself in their house, which was perfect. So I just went right back to Zurich for a day trip. Zurich is like the city area, and Aarau is kind of like, it's kind of like the suburbs in a way. But there's just so much greenery. I've never seen that much green in my life till I got to Aarau. You can see the mountains from her house. There's so many trees. It's like her backyard is literally a forest. She has a whole garden, everything. It's insane. So I don't know why I went back to the city. I mean, the city area wasn't that bad considering how Manhattan is. Manhattan is not that much green. In Zurich, you can still see like the mountains and there's still a lot of greenery there. Anyways, let me just explain. Zurich was stunning, point blank period. It reminded me of like a modern town with very old architecture in some places. It was very pretty. Mind you, it was supposed to be hurricaning that day. Well, it was actually supposed to be hurricaning for the 2-ish days that I was there. But the weather held up, super happy. Super excited. The weather app did indeed lie to me because it was bright and sunny the entire time and hot. It was like in the mid 80s. We love that. But when I was walking around Zurich, I was pleasantly surprised that most people were tall. A majority of the people were like 6'4", 6'5". And I just remember always having to look up at people just to see their faces. And immediately I thought to myself, is this what it's like to feel at home? I found my people. And I was here for it. I'm telling you, it's the German genes. But anyways, I had a whole itinerary planned. I was going to go to like 9 places. that were directly in a straight line from the train station. So I wouldn't get confused and not going to one place and making a right and going all the way over here, going in some zigzag pattern. It was just all not perfectly in a straight line, but pretty much in a straight line from the train station. And I could just walk back to the train station in a straight line, so I wouldn't be confused. Did my research, did what I had to do to make that list. But did I go to all 9 of those places? No. Why? I pulled a Paris again. I spent way too much time at the first place. So the first place that I went to was the Münsterbrücke. Yeah, I was corrected 20 times for that pronunciation. I'm sorry, I butchered it, but Münsterbrücke. Anyways, it was just a bridge that's by the Lake of Zurich, which is, oh my gosh, the lake is perfect blue green color. You can see right through it. Oh my god, the water is so pretty, and it was just the way the sun was reflecting off of it. Oh, the lake was stunning. Anyways, it's a bridge and you can see the Lake of Zurich, and you also get a nice view of the buildings and the mountains. And yeah, you just see mad green. It's stunning. They really do take their nature seriously out there. Trees everywhere. I absolutely love that. But anyways, you can see a nice view from the bridge. And there were like 4 other bridges. That was 2 bridges on either side. No, 3 bridges before I got to the Münsterbrücke, and then there was another one after it. So I get off the train station. I'm on my way to the Münsterbrücke. And I see a bunch of other bridges. So you already know I had to, take pictures on those bridges. That's part of the reason why it took so long. And what I absolutely loved about it was that it wasn't that crowded. And on top of that, everybody else was having their tourist moment because they were taking pictures. So I didn't feel bad about taking pictures as well, even though I was alone. And I will definitely say that it's a little bit more difficult to get good pictures when you're alone at these places. But hey, I did it. Took a couple selfies on the bridge, you know the vibe. But I ended up making it to the Münsterbrücke, took pictures on those as well. There were 2 churches on either side. Please don't ask me to pronounce those because I will not. They were on either side of the bridge, so I checked those out, and then I just kept walking around aimlessly. Then I discovered like a passageway that was underneath a bridge, kind of looked like it was an alleyway, a little bit scary, but whatever, it is what it is. And it led to this park area, and there were a bunch of benches by the water, and there was just a lady that was feeding a bunch of swans. They have big, white, beautiful, majestic swans in Switzerland. Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever been that close to a swan in my life. So that, in combination with the sun blaring and the vibing, I may have stayed there for like an hour and a half, which was not the best idea, but I couldn't help it. I was having a good time. But anyways, I kind of snapped back to reality after that point. I headed over to the second place on my list, which was the Lindenhof viewpoint. So the thing is, something very, very, very strange happened on the way to this viewpoint. I was just walking like a normal person on the side by the shops, just doing my own thing. And then I heard a splash. And all I know is that the right side of my body is drenched in some type of liquid. Hair drenched, clothes drenched, skin drenched. Now, I don't know what this mysterious liquid is, but I haven't turned purple yet, so I hope I'm safe. I think it was water. It did not have a smell. Fingers crossed it wasn't anything bad. But the weather was super hot, so it dried off quickly. I'm just so confused as to why that happened. I just remember looking up and I didn't see anything. Not a person, not a bucket, nothing. I just looked up and it just looked like it just came from the sky. And I'm looking around and people are just walking around normally, like, whoa, like, you guys didn't see that? Anyways, I just walk over to some corner and I dry myself off and I smell to make sure that, it's not like pee or anything. But it didn't have a smell. And I'm just like, I'm not walking down the street again. So I took the long way. I went behind the shops on the other side where like the buildings like is like homes or smaller restaurants. I just took that path and decided to take the long way around because number one, I was embarrassed a little bit. Like, how does that happen? And I was just like, I don't want this happening again. So I just walk behind the little shops because that just came out of nowhere. Like, I'm just going to assume that somebody just threw an entire bucket of water out of their window and it just happened to hit me. Whatever. Anyways, make my way to the Lindenhof viewpoint. I had to climb up like 20 flights of stairs. Great exercise, I guess you could say, and it was worth it because the view was just stunning. You could see more of the lake, you could see the mountains, you could see the pretty buildings. Oh my gosh, the buildings have such pretty colors there compared to Florence. Don't get me wrong, the buildings here are pretty chill, but it's also kind of bland. Like, the buildings in Switzerland, they have more variety of colors and they're like brighter. And I just took awesome pics. Okay, you can check them out at Tall Girls Podcast. And there was a little park area on the other side. So I went to that side. It was not as crowded as the first side that I was on. So I didn't feel bad about literally whipping out my tiny tripod. Yes, I bought a tripod before I came out here to take on this trip because I didn't know if I was going to make any friends and if they were going to be able to take pictures with me. So I was smart and decided to buy a tripod. I'm glad I did because I used it and I took some nice pictures in the little park area as well. And then after that, I headed to the Glacomedi. I'm looking it up right now because these names, I don't know what to tell you. I just want to make sure that I'm pronouncing it properly so that the Glacomedi Hall. Oh, it's Murals de... Oh, shoot. I did butcher the name. Oops. Murals de Giacometti. Anyways, it's known as the Flower Hall in a police station in the entryway. And it's just a bunch of murals that was painted by some guy. It had like the Pythagorean theorem on one side and another side it had like a guy looking through a telescope. Oh my gosh. And the top had like these flowers. It was so intricate and it was so pink. I didn't think that a police station would have like pink murals, but it was so cool. My breath was absolutely taken away at this point. And I was like, whoa, this is so cool. And whipped out my tripod again, took nice pictures. And a nice French lady took some pictures of me. She was so nice because I thought the French was super stingy towards Americans. But hey, that just shows you that not all French people are stingy. Anyways, took great pictures. I spent like a good hour there and it was about to close. So I left and I figured at that point it was time to go back for dinner because nothing is open after 8 p.m. So I had to manage my time well. So after that, I went back to my cousin's place for dinner and we called it a night. Then the next day, which was Saturday, which was my last day there, I didn't spend a full day there because I had to go to the airport that night. We went to the Lindt Home of Chocolate. Yes, we went to the chocolate factory. One of the people that I am staying with told me that I should go there. And I was like, you know what? I should. And we did. Oh my gosh. I've never been inside a chocolate factory. And that one was super cool. All I know is that we walked in and we just saw the huge whisk with like chocolate coming from it. Like, you know, the commercial for Lindt chocolate where the man is mixing the chocolate with the whisk and he like takes it out and it's like the chocolate is like, it's like a stream of chocolate coming down from the whisk back into the bowl. That's basically what it was resembling. And I took the most touristy pictures there as well. I'm not even mad about it. I'm proud of myself for being a tourist at this point. But it was so cool. We bought tickets for like a tour where we saw like the history of chocolate, how it was made and how it became popular. And we got to see like the tools that was used to make cocoa powder and stuff like that. And, and there were chocolate fountains. There were mini fountains of chocolate where you were able to taste it. Oh my gosh. I just know it was like a milk chocolate, and then one was like a caramelly chocolate type of thing. Another one was white chocolate. Personally, my favorite was the milk chocolate one. It was so smooth, and it was warm too. It wasn't even cold. It was warm. Dude, I was in love. It was so good. And then after that, they had chocolate dispensers. What? Like, you could put your hand underneath the machine and it will automatically break off a piece of chocolate and put it in your hand. Oh my gosh, that was so cool. I'm gonna be honest, didn't really like much of the chocolate. I think the one that I liked the most was the chocolate with the sea salt, but they had like chocolate with orange. They had like intense chocolate, like 70% cocoa, 60% cocoa. They had one with nuts and like with caramel. It was okay, but you know what? I tried it and I was able to appreciate the fact that I tried it. But I really liked the one with the sea salt in it. And after that, there was like another room that had like these big containers of like chocolate, like, you know, the Lindt chocolate balls that everybody gets for like Christmas and stuff like that, or Valentine's Day or whatever. And I was like, free chocolate? Don't mind if I do. We were supposed to take a maximum of one for each person. You already know I stuck my hand in there. And while the people that were working at those counters were distracted, I took a handful and I had to put it in my bag. I got like at least 10 of each flavor, and they had quite a few flavors. So yeah, I really took more than one chocolate from each container. I'm not mad about that. But we had to cut our time a little bit short. We were only able to stay there for like about an hour and a half-ish because we had to go to my cousin's friend's birthday party, which was essentially a kids party, just a bunch of little kids running around, screaming and crying, and they had a little kiddie pool set up. And I was like, once I walked in and I saw that, I was like, you guys can find me inside. I'm just gonna take a couple pieces of cake and just sit inside in the living room, eat and play on my phone. I couldn't even understand what half of these people were saying because they were just speaking German. I was like, okay. Yeah. But we left after 20 minutes. Headed back to my cousin's house so I can get my stuff, and then we went to the airport, and of course my flight was delayed by an hour yet again. But it was a smooth ride. Didn't sit next to a man spreader yet again. I'm on a roll here, so hopefully on my flight back home it's the same exact thing. And yeah, the only weird thing that happened was that somebody decided to projectile vomit after the plane landed. Oh my goodness, because the plane got to the gate and then all you hear on the announcement was, oh yeah, our bus isn't here, this is unusual, we have to wait a few minutes. And I immediately thought to myself, this is not going to end well at all. And it didn't really, because you know how there's two seats on one side and then there's the aisle and then there's two seats on the other side. So the person that's on the other side of the aisle from me, it was just normal. Like, he was just vibing, whatever. And then all of a sudden, he takes out the throw-out bag and starts projectile vomiting in there. And I'm immediately like, oh my gosh. Of course this is happening next to me. At least it wasn't right next to me, but of course it's happening next to me. Please get me off this plane. And no, still, we were waiting for the bus, and he's just vomiting and vomiting and vomiting and vomiting. And even the people, like, behind me or behind him or standing in the aisle had to give him more vomit bags because he just kept vomiting. And I'm like, please, I can't, because then I'm gonna start vomiting. No. And then he decided to go up to the bathroom to get to the bathroom. I was like, yeah, good idea, but also there's people with suitcases standing in the aisle, so it's like, how are you gonna get there? So he starts to get into the aisle and starts like pushing the people with the suitcases out the way, and his vomit is getting on their suitcases. It was getting all the suitcases on the floor, and I was like, please get me off this plane. And I felt so bad for one of the ladies because there was so much vomit on her little carry-on suitcase, and people had to like help her clean it off, give her water to clean it off. I'm just like, no, this is no. But thank goodness, after a while, the bus got to the plane. You already know, I ran off. I sprinted and I got off, and I was like, oh, thank goodness. And of course, I got back to my room at 12 a.m. because that just seems to be a pattern at this point. But very interesting trip to Switzerland, to and from Switzerland. A lot happened. I learned a lot. I saw a lot. And wow, this was going to be my last weekend trip. This is my last weekend. This past weekend was my last weekend. And this is my last weekend trip. That's a little crazy. I'm not too mad though, because I think I'm ready to just get back to normalcy and routine and everything just being the same. Because I'm not going to lie to y'all, I'm starting to get tired. Not tired in a bad way, but just exhausted. So I just want to enjoy my last few days here, and hopefully I don't come into contact with any other projectile vomiters. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to the end of this episode. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. All of the pictures from Switzerland and Paris and Rome and Venice and everything is going to be on my socials, on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest at a Tall Girls Podcast. Make sure you follow those and check out those photos because those are super awesome. Maybe they can even provide some inspiration/motivation for your next trip. If you're looking to take a trip this summer or anytime soon, you can check those out and see what places you want to go to, or some inspiration for photos and yada yada yada. I really do need to plan out what I'm gonna do for the last 4 days that I'm here. Probably gonna try to hit a beach. Probably gonna try to watch the sunset from a cathedral's terrace balcony area thing that's open to the public. I know I have a reception on the last full day that I'm here, so it's free food. Definitely gonna go to that. And yeah, so I'll let you guys know what the vibe is in my next episode. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to this episode, and hit me up. Let me know if you're going to any of these places. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, any advice on how to recover from this, thank you very much. And I'm going to end it here because this episode is kind of long. So I will catch you in the next one. Good night and goodbye.